All, welcome to the web application pen testing course. Now we've talking a lot about HTTP verb tampering, and unfortunately I think because most of the web servers aren't vulnerable anymore, it was pretty difficult, to find a demo. So what I've done is I've created a demo, just because a majority of web servers, uh, you know, aren't vulnerable anymore doesn't mean, you would never find one. I think even in enterprises where you may have a lot of legacy equipment and networks sitting inside, you could probably end up finding such vulnerabilities. Now, the other interesting thing is because HTTP verb tampering typically ends up happening because of misconfiguration, there is a high likelihood that some admin would end up doing this mistake. So really, I do not see this going away, entirely, probably for a long time. Okay, so what I've done is I've created a demo application, and here it is. It says Pen Tester Academy. Enter at your own risk, which you guys have, right? You already subscribed. And let me go ahead and click on submit so that we can enter. And unfortunately, it seems to ask us for a basic auth. So let's say yes, yes. Isn't working. Vivek ABCD isn't working, right? And if I do a cancel, unfortunately I get an authorization required prompt. Not too good, right? And this is something which I think a lot of us commonly encounter. Now, a lot of things may be happening in the background when you get an authorization required prompt, which means you don't have a set of auth credentials. Now, one of the possible ways this can happen is because of an htaccess file, of course. And in that, really, the web admin has gone ahead and put out certain restrictions, probably for valid users or a specific group of users, you really don't know. But for verb tampering to go ahead and become applicable, he would have gone ahead and limited access also based on the request method. Now, if you notice, that is typically done using the limit keyword in an Apache htaccess file. Now, what this is saying is limit access to this resource only via post for valid users. Unfortunately, what this also means is that any other request method would end up becoming valid and does not require any form of authentication, right? And this misconfiguration is what leads to HTTP verb tampering. Okay, so now let's go back in here, and here is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back and make a request via curl, and let me try and make a post request. Let me check really if we require any form of post variables to be sent in. So I can do a quick view page source, and looks like there are no other post variables. All it does is basically takes us directly inside the secret folder, right? So let me go back in here, just say I want to do this as a post, and let me mention the URL 192.168.1.11/secret, right? This is what we could gather based on what we've seen right now. So let me run this, and clearly, as expected, we see authorization required, right? This is the error which we're also getting, or the prompt rather, which we are getting when we use the web browser. Now, I've already SSH'd into 192.168.11, and as I showed you on the slides, this is how the htaccess file looks like. Now, unfortunately, rather than limiting /secret based on just users and not specifying any specific HTTP method, this admin has decided to use the limit keyword along with the HTTP method post. So unfortunately, What this really means is if we go back in here and just change the access method to a get, right? Woot, right? We go ahead and now get index of secret, and this time seems to be we get a 200 OK, which is really shocking, right? Because just by changing the request method, we have been able to authenticate to the web server, right? And honestly, I mean, pretty much when we did the submit query and we did the cancel, to access this resource, all we had to do is just hit an enter on the browser, simply because that would simulate a GET request. And there you go, right? You can see the secret and the other files which are in there. So this is a very simple example of HTTP verb tampering. And this specific htaccess file and all of this, do not worry, I'm going to probably go ahead and put it out there in the next video. All I'm trying to figure out is how to package this in a way so that you can download and get started rather than having to do all the installation and copying the files and all of that. So I'm trying to build a really small VM, and if you're watching this video maybe a couple of weeks later or even days later, you should find that, right? Find it available for download. That's all for this video, guys. Thank you. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.